Oh, hello. Back in the 90s, I started playing Magic the Gathering, and when I did, this was the first thing I ever purchased. A starter deck of Revised and a booster pack of Revised. My father actually offered to buy me a full booster box of Revised, but when we went down to our local game store, the guy behind the counter said he'd give us 2 boxes of Fallen Empires for the very same price. What a deal, I thought, not knowing what Fallen Empires was. But when I found out, it didn't dissuade my love of Magic the Gathering. I got my very first job ever so I could save up money to buy booster boxes of Ice Age when it came out. I certainly enjoyed that set more than Fallen Empires or Homelands. But you never forget your first, and for me, Revised was my first. When I graduated high school, I did sell all of my Magic cards, and I really regretted it. Not because of whatever money I lost from the dual lands or Force of Wills that I had, but because those were really important special memories, and now they were gone forever. But over the last 11 years of Tolarian Community College, every time I had an opportunity to open up a pack of Revised, I saved those cards and slowly rebuilt my collection. Luckily, 10 years ago, it wasn't quite as expensive as it is today. And truth be told, this is probably the last booster pack and certainly starter deck of Revised that I will ever open, but I like that I've rebuilt a lot of my collection. I could have bought these cards on an online seller and filled up my binder, but I wanted them to be pack fresh cards that I had opened, and through that, rebuild as much of my collection as I could. Well, today, I'm going to open up a Revised starter deck and a Revised booster pack and relive the very first Magic the Gathering products that I ever bought and opened. So here we go. I have in-between cuts checked about 700 times to make sure everything is recording because there's no second take here. I think I'll start with the booster pack. I don't remember if I actually only had one booster pack or if I know I got a starter deck and I might have had 1 or 2 booster packs, but I do remember the very first rare that I ever opened. It was Nightmare. And I had played some games with friends on campus, and I knew what Nightmare was, and I was so excited to get it. I thought it was such a powerful card. I thought the art was so cool. So here we go. Let's see what the rare is. And I don't know what the order is. I don't even remember, to be honest with you, the rarity of a lot of these cards. For all I know, Hurricane is the rare. What a rip that would be. I think it's commons, rare, uncommon. I don't remember. Hurricane, I hope, is not the rare. Soulnet, I hope, is not the rare. This is actually a interesting card. Beautiful. I love, I was just about to make a comment about nostalgic art, and there's Sarah Angel. A lot of people say that I'm guessing these are the uncommons. I'm hoping these are the uncommons. Why do I feel like Timberwolves is the rare? I don't want to go through this whole pack just saying I think that's the rare, I think that's the rare. But a lot of people say that we only like old art because we're nostalgic for it. And I do agree there's a certain level of nostalgia, but I also think that a lot of old art is iconic. It was distinct, and there were problems with letting the artists go in wild directions where there wasn't a cohesion. But I do feel that modern Magic art, while very talented, in fact, you might argue light years ahead in terms of technique of this old art, it has a homogeneous quality to it too. Think about recent sets and ask yourself which pieces are the most iconic, and there are some, but it felt like so many of these works just resonated, just made an impression, and maybe that is nostalgia. I'm going to go through my folder after this and see which of these cards I needed and put them in. Yes, there's plenty of basic lands and packs because there was no other way to get them. Unholy Strength, they took the pentagram out because people complained about it and it looked just terrible without it. There it is. Talk about iconic pieces. I mean, really. I love the lands as well. Scrib Sprites. I have no idea what the rare is. I have no idea. It's not Land of War Elves. I've got a feeling it might be Hurricane, and then maybe or Timberwolves. This was definitely, I know that's an uncommon. There you go. This was a really, really great card at the time. So there's our pack, no Nightmare. And we'll see in a minute which of those I needed as I take out my binder. This is interesting. So I bought this actually from Rudy. Yes, I bought it from Rudy. He sent me a photo. He had a lineup of them. I don't remember how many, 8 or 10. And he said, hey, pick a number, starting from the left, 1 through 8, 1 through 10, and that's the one I'll give you. Well, I'll sell you. This apparently was from Hastings Books, Music and Video, $7.16. I don't want to say what I paid, but it was more than that. Oh, $7.95. Look at that. Remember when things had a price on them? How am I going to open this? This is right over the, I think this is right over the seal. Oh my goodness, I got to be really careful. I really liked starter decks. I know they wouldn't work today, but it was basically 3 booster packs worth of cards, plus more, like lands mostly, which were hard to get. The idea was that you would get this and some boosters and could, be on your way to your first deck and get a bunch of lands, and I really enjoyed them. Again, I will admit a lot of it is nostalgia, but I do think Magic did a lot right, which is why it endured over the years. Here we go. Again, I have no memory of the order of the cards in this, so if I pass over rares and things like that, well, that's the rare, right? Demonic Tutor right at the front. And I think there's 3 rares in here. Wow. There was a time when Demonic Tutor was definitely up there. I can't keep it straight in my head anymore if this is a $50 card or not. And I'll be honest, to his credit, Rudy was like, Prof, this is not a good, don't buy this. You're not going to get your money. And I said, it's not about money. It's about me celebrating. This is for my 1 million subscribers to celebrate. And it's about this being recorded for everybody. Gets to sit and experience this with me. Most people watching probably will never be able to open up a revised starter deck. And so here we get to, and here are the rules of Magic. I remember I got into an argument with my friend during a game over whether an interrupt would resolve before or after another spell. And his father, who has never played Magic, was just like, all right, are there rules to this game? And we were like, yeah, here's the rules. And he goes, all right, let me see. And I just remember he sits back and he just goes, opens page 1, goes, okay. And I'm like, oh, no, you're not, no. And he's reading through it. He's like, now what is the problem here now? Is this involving mana? Fun memories. All right, there's our Demonic Tutor. I feel like the other rares are going to be under that. Let's go through these first, assuming I'm correct. Maybe I'm not. Volcanic Eruption. Sorceress Queen. Favorite of mine. I think that's a rare. I think it's a rare. Mana Short. I hope that's not a rare. All opponents' lands are tapped, and opponent's mana pool is emptied. Okay. Opponent takes no damage from unspent mana. All right. But there you go. That is indeed a card. One of my favorites. I could play it up until recently, until they banned it in Pauper. And yeah, I loved playing Pauper because of ATOG, because I got to experience this card and was still good. So good they had to ban it. Nailish Hero. Bans. Battle of the Bands. How does banding work? We don't know. And I do love when I make my personal decks, especially Legacy and Modern, I like to use revised lands, not beta lands. I didn't play in beta, played in revised, and I like that little white border around them. Prodigal Sorcerer, just all these hits. And again, I don't mean to be disparaging about new Magic. I obviously love new Magic. I mean, I just had more fun than I've had in a long time in Bloomborough. And I love the art in Bloomborough, the flavor. There is just something about these old cards. And I think it is fair to do the nostalgia argument, but I don't think it's fair to say it's only nostalgia. I think there was more going on. I think that there was something very special brewed up in this game, especially in the early years. And that is also part of why it's endured. It's gotten better. Certainly it's gotten better. It's grown. Certainly this is part of its ability to endure. Elasticity is a great quality because if you're too rigid, you snap. I believe in those things, but I don't think it's fair to just say, the old art, it was terrible. It's just nostalgia why you like it. It's just your childhood you're trying to reclaim. Yeah, it's both of those things. It's many of those things. Curd Ape. just so many of these classic art. And so, yeah, I do love those lands. Giant Growth. So, the very first deck I did put together, I don't remember how I got all the cards together, but it was my first real 60-card deck. Schoolyard Playground. I'm playing and I go like War Mammoth. I attack. I've got like 5 forests or whatever. And I go Giant Growth it, Giant Growth it, Giant Growth it, Giant Growth it, Giant Growth it 5 times. And I remember the kid going, what? Wait, what? And he says, can I see your deck? And all these other kids are surrounding us. And they're like looking through my deck, and my deck is half Giant Growths and half War Mammoths. I didn't know there was a 4-card restriction. I remember him telling me you can't have more than 4 of one card in a deck. And I go, no, you're just saying that because you lost. But there were many, many other kids surrounding me, insisting that this was the case. Sea Serpent. Love it. Can't attack unless opponent has islands. It's logical. On flavor. Imagine if they could see what Magic cards are like today, back then. Oh, another favorite of mine, Grey Ogre. Just a 2/2 for 3. No more to it than that. Wall of Wood. I really liked walls. I don't know why. I felt like it seemed like a good value, getting a 0/3 for 1 that somehow I could leverage to my advantage. Unsummon, still a good card. Sure, that we got Vapor Snaps and all those fancy things. That's probably outdated now too. That's the template. And so many Magic cards too of today are just variations. Psychic Venom, not too many variations there. War Mammoth, there it is. There was my combo. There it is, my Wombo Z combo. War Mammoth and 5 Giant Growths. Rip. Let's see, was that enough? It was like 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16, 17, 18. It was 6 giant. I was like, I won. Maybe I had like a bunch of lightning bolts too. I know I loved Lightning Bolt, War Mammoth, Giant Growth, but this right here, this was in my first deck. That was the thing, because it just tramples over. Death Ward, regenerate target creature. I don't think regenerate was too complicated. And it's weird that they had to retire it. I wish they'd stop, you don't mess with perfection, right? Hill Giant, what a thing of classics in here. What classics? I know there's no value. And yet, I love it. Circle of Protections are still pretty good cards. Absolutely. Shatter, there's better things, but I love that art. And there's another classic right here, Giant Spider. Your flyers cannot pass. Oh, what memories. What memories. After high school, I went on to graduate school. After graduate school, I got my first teaching job at a university in Beijing. My now wife and I taught there for 2 years. I proposed to her in Beijing. We came back. We got jobs teaching at community colleges in Northern California. There was no full-time. We had to do full-time, part-time. And then one day, my friend from high school, who I had gotten into that argument with over interrupts, who I had gotten that job to buy booster boxes of Ice Age and go up and play with him and hang out as my best friend. I had sold my cards. He told me not to. He was like so adamant I would regret it. And then he pulled out his cards. We were now in our 30s. And he said, remember these? And back I came. And the first set, when I came back, was this, Innistrad. I'm gonna open up a couple of these afterwards too, because that's my other first set. It's like I have 2 lives. And there it is, all my favorites. This is wild. This is like this was stacked for me. I mean, I have a story about Sorceress Queen it's a little bit of basically a kid stole mine. And then eventually he went and he took out his folder and he said, I'm sorry you lost your Sorceress Queen. He said, you can have one of mine. And he just could not admit that he stole it. Anyway, it's wild. All of these cards. Atog, Sorceress Queen. This is Giant Spider. Oh, and then the Giant Growth. Look at this. This is just all my memories. I loved Sea Serpent too. I loved it. Prodigal Sorcerer. Look at this. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. I'm more excited about this, probably worth about $1 of cards than the Demonic Tutor. Frozen Shade, that was a good one. I love that it's just got a quote from Edgar Allan Poe on it. Crawworm. this is unreal. This is just like all the classics. These cards were iconic. Many of you maybe don't get why I'm this excited about a 6/4 for 6 that does nothing. The art's so cool. Oh. Just amazing stuff. Howl from Beyond. Got a good amount of lands in here. That's great. You might be thinking, oh, I got all those lands, but yeah, they'll go in my decks, especially my older decks. I like to, feel like, oh yeah, it's my legacy deck. It's got all my revised lands in it and such. Fog. Still played today. And then Stone Rain. There's some person trying to collect all of these, I believe. All right, so underneath this, I peeked at it. I don't know if the camera showed it. One of my favorite cards, both because I thought what it did was amazing, but the art was so cool. Thicket Basilisk, Dan Frazier. Just loved that art. I thought it was such a cool looking creature. It's like an iguana, I get it, but so neat. And then any non-wall creature blocking Basilisk is destroyed, as is any creature blocked by Basilisk. Creatures destroyed this way deal their damage before dying. There is something to be said for old templating. Feedback does 1 damage to controller of target enchantment during its controller's upkeep. Ooh, Nettling Imp. I swear to God, this was the card when I quit Magic that I thought I solved Magic. Nettling Imp, Royal Assassin. I played with that same friend, and I was like, take all your decks. There's no beating this deck. And it's just Nettling Imp forces you to attack, Royal Assassin kills the creature. And it was just unstoppable. This is amazing that I got all of these cards in this deck. Just amazing. Instill Energy, Control Magic. All right. I have no idea. Energy Flux. This was being used, recently. Well, recently. Goblin Balloon Brigade, another classic. From up here, we can drop rocks and arrows and more rocks. Yeah, but how do we get down? You just wait till end of turn. Resurrection, it's a good card. And I can't believe it's Hoofed Troll. It's Hoofed Troll. I loved the flavor text. Oi, 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 me gonna earthen here. Oi, 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 me smell a ting is near. Gonna bosh and gonna nosh and then the earth'll disappear. Traditional. Regenerates. What are you gonna do? And Phantasmal Force. Now this is crazy. Flying, controller must spend blue during upkeep to maintain or Phantasmal Forces are destroyed. At least it wasn't cumulative upkeep. That came about in Ice Age. I did not like that very much. So I'm gonna put these in my folder and show you which ones I needed and show you the folder. But before I do, I have 4 packs of Innistrad. Oh, 5! I almost have a sealed deck, but I don't have the 6. That's why I'm gonna open this here. So it was my birthday this year, and it was a big, not odd number, but significant number. And I had my whole life I dreamed of having a birthday party. I never had a big party, like a few friends over for dinner. And so thanks to Shuffle Up, I was able to do a major filming weekend and have a birthday party with a lot of people in the Magic community that live far away that are my friends. And I splurged because it is a big birthday number. I don't want to say the number. And I bought some booster boxes of original Innistrad because this was the set when I returned to Magic. And when it was my first pre-release ever because we didn't have pre-release back in the days of Revised. I had come back just before Innistrad, like a few weeks before it was coming out, and I got so deep into Magic, and they're like, Innistrad pre-release, you should sign up for it. I'm like, sure, I don't know what this is. And I got 6 packs, and I didn't know what Planeswalkers were. And I opened my very first pack of original Innistrad, and there was Liliana of the Veil in it, which is why Liliana of the Veil is one of my favorite Planeswalkers. And yeah, I'll open this one with Liliana. It's not like she's going to be in the one with the picture of her on it. And so original Innistrad, I think it's a great set. Like, again, is there nostalgia that this was the set when I got back into Magic as an adult and I started making friends and playing at Anime Imports in Pacifica, California, and eventually starting my YouTube channel? Sure, there's a nostalgia to it. It's also a great set. I really wish Innistrad, I've got some bad feelings about Innistrad Remastered coming out, where I think that unfortunately, they're gonna take 9 Innistrad sets or whatever and remaster it, and I wish they'd just taken Original Innistrad, Dark Ascension, maybe Avacyn Restored, and just like they had done with Time Spiral Remastered, created a unified, like, remastered the block as a singular draft set. I don't think that it works well when you're mashing 9 sets together that weren't meant to be drafted together. And in all honesty, like Midnight Hunt, don't have a lot of nostalgia for. There's Laboratory Maniac. God, I have such memories for these cards. They meant so much to me when I was getting back into Magic. Lab Maniac, I tried to make a deck work with it. Oh, just love it. Just love the art and everything. And then we've got a double-sided card. I liked the old werewolf thing. I think it's way better than Day Night. I don't think it needed to be meddled with. Yeah, there's issues with it, but leave it be. Like, you don't have to everything, right? Don't have to everything. The Professor. Oh, those memories, original Innistrad. And that was where I recently, I showed that I had a large collection of booster boxes. And that was because original Innistrad, it was how I played the booster box game. It was with original Innistrad, because at the time when it came out, Liliana the Veil was going for like $50. Snapcaster Mage was going for like $50, $40, something like that. And I realized if you get those 2 cards, you've pretty much got a box. So those 2 cards plus a couple other cards, and you can sell 4 cards and get a box as long as you got a Liliana and a Snapcaster. The Garrick was worth a lot. There were a couple others. And my wife and I, before we didn't have our YouTube channel yet, and there he is. Snappy. And that's the booster box game was born. I was like, you know what? If I sell this and 2 more rares, I get to keep everything and buy another box. And I did that. And that was the booster box game, which was not played, on a channel because I didn't have the channel at the time. If I get a Liliana, it's going to blow my freaking mind. But just getting a Snapcaster is pretty wild. What's Snappy worth these days? Less. Not even really that modern viable anymore, thanks to Modern Horizons. Ugh. And so, yeah, so much of this. And then, like I said, my first office was the original location of Anime Imports. If you're ever in the San Francisco Bay Area, Anime Imports is still around. It's easy to get to. Big parking lot, great events, great staff, and the owner, Mike, and the community there is how I started my YouTube channel, and was encouraged to post the videos and everything. Rooftop Storm. Charlie was pretty big on this one in a game of Commander. And when Mike upgraded and went to his current location, which is a larger location just down the road, I was looking for an office, and he was like, you know what? I'm allowed to sublet. I've got a sweetheart lease. It's locked in. I will let you just rent it out at cost, which was minuscule. And so the game store that had been my community, my inspiration for this channel, everything about Magic and what I loved about the Magic community, I learned through. We practically lived there, my wife and I, before our kid was born. And then when he was born, less. And so it was amazing that first office was just in the original Anime Imports. And then we moved up here and such. But if you are in the area, you should go on down. Check out their events. Great store, great people. Ooh, got some marks on there. Look at that. Good memories. I don't know if we're going to get that Liliana. I tried to make a werewolf deck work. So, I can have nostalgia for this. What will you have nostalgia for? What do you have nostalgia for? Do you want to go back for the cards? Do you want to go back for the money? Or do you want to go back for the people or the person that you used to be? For me, it's the latter. The people and myself. I never feel like when people say to me, oh boy, I bet you wish you didn't sell your collection, be worth so much. And it's like, no, I wish I didn't sell my collection because it was my collection from high school. I'm glad I still have in the folders back there my Innistrad cards that I opened back then. I still have that Liliana, and I'm really glad. All right, if there's a Liliana in this, in the one that has the Liliana, that's too much. That's too much. But even so, what a great memory to go through these. And yeah, so we had a draft of Innistrad on my birthday. with many members of the Magic community that were out for Shuffle Up and Play. And that was wonderful. My dream had been to have a big birthday party. And by big, I was like, 10 people, but usually it's just me and a couple people for dinner. And so it really scratched an itch. I'm not going to do it every year. It was only possible since all my friends live everywhere but here, just about. Only possible because I was able to team up a work, with it. Isolated Chapel. Well, not bad, not bad. I liked the dual lands introduced in Innistrad, and that's a good one. Well, we got that Snapcaster, and then this is a foil Liliana. No, it's a Village Ironsmith. There we go. Don't sell your collection, or if you do, maybe look through it for those special cards and sell everything but them. Don't let it all go away. You'll probably be back to Magic the Gathering, as many of us leave and return, but even if you never come back, every now and then being able to take that folder down from the shelves, open it up, and turn the pages. And remember the many Magic the Gathering days you had, the games you played, and the people you knew and hopefully still know through this game.
Next time on Shuffle Up and Play.
Today, we are playing Commander with animators.
Hello, I'm James. I have a YouTube channel called The Odd Ones Out.
I think we do need to drop the animation. We can't afford it for the entire episode. Can we do a face reveal? Whoa!
Animation sucks.
I become the monarch, he converts.
It was a robot in disguise all along. I thought it was a Urza blade.
Somebody once sent me an email with some Transformers Vor fan fiction. I did read it. It wasn't bad.
I'm returning your commander to your hand.
All right, in response, I'm gonna fling my wick at your face.
Tap 2 and negate that.
Oh!
I'm going to tap 2.
1, 2, 3.
Let's play.
We're never doing that again.
No, that's your thing now.
No, I don't want to.